Welcome, brave souls, to another haunting chapter of Ghost Girl Diaries, where the supernatural awaits, transmitting from the other side, where paranormal meets glamour. I'm your host this evening, Crystal Leandra, the Queen of the Dead, a paranormal filmmaker and investigator, and the glam behind the ghost hunt. Here we dive into spine-chilling hauntings, explore the unknown, and uncover the secrets across the most haunted locations in the world. Whether you're a believer or a skeptic, you're in for a thrill. So grab your EMF meter, your crystals, and your cross, because things are about to get supernatural with a little bit of glam. Let's get haunted. This is Ghost Girl Diaries. Hey guys, what is up? Welcome back to the podcast. I am so excited to be back. Kat is excited to be back, and we have a lot to cover today. It's been a minute. And I think we have a lot to sort of chat about as far as, there was speculation that I kicked Kat to the curb, and I definitely did. And I know that she wasn't aware that I did that, but I did. So Kat, first, I just want to apologize.
Apology accepted, Yeah, it was while we're on the phone talking and everyone's like, Crystal fired Kat. And then we made a YouTube about it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and it wasn't Kat, it was this person who was staying on the pavement, and I just needed a minute no, and it's true. Kat did witness, this epic sort of purge that I really did. I know we laugh about it and it is funny, but like Kat has seen me go through probably 12 or 15 versions of myself since my mom died. And it really is that matter of peeling layers back of old versions of yourself that just don't exist anymore. And I don't think people realize, it's like really deep. You're like scraping off like snakeskin, and it's painful. You're like mourning versions of yourself. And bad things too, like you things come up when you're healing of your parents said or taught you that you really are false beliefs that you don't identify with. You have to release those. Like, it's so deep. And poor Kat was just standing there on the sidewalk like, oh, here she goes again.
We're just gonna okay, get your balance, we're good. check the road before you cross it.
Well, and it was definitely a decision of like, okay, I can't come back to the podcast until I'm fully mentally present again. And that's also as far as people are like, why haven't you guys been ghost hunting and filming? Girl, you didn't want me to when I was going through this. You know what I mean? It couldn't happen.
It's a transition.
Yeah.
You were going through a lot.
So anyway, welcome back. Everyone was really excited for you. Like, the comments were blowing up on YouTube. They're like, I think the funniest one was the band is back together.
The para band.
Yeah, the para girls are back. Yeah. So paranormal community's in love with missing you, and they're also on fire. It's been a rough week or two, but I know who's having a worse week.
Do we dare say the name? Mr. Baggins?
Well, I actually wanted to talk about how, Aaron and his wife first. We didn't address that last time. I know. And then Kat's going to go. She did a really good. So we actually filmed this podcast once, and the audio went out. My spirit team was so heavily in my room that the audio went out, and I felt so horrible. I had to make Kat come film this again because I was like, oh, we're going to get this really epic schedule. We'll walk in, film it, and it's done. And then I was like, hey, yeah, that didn't work. Sorry about that. Sorry, that didn't work out as planned.
We're here now. It's fine.
But yeah, I mean, the paranormal community's on fire, really bad, and it's
kind of dumpstery.
And it's an embarrassment. And first, though, I mean, Aaron and his wife, that's not an embarrassment. That's really sad. You saw, what happened.
Yeah, that poor guy. He's just been through it. Not only in investigations, but now in his personal life. I can't imagine what he must be feeling at this moment.
If you don't know, Aaron's wife was arrested here in Vegas for conspiracy to have him unalived, essentially. And I don't know how much everyone's heard out there. I'm in Vegas, so obviously I get a lot of local news. And essentially the wife, which he's only been married to for a couple of years, I think, she started watching true crime documentaries and got addicted to them, which mood, same, but I wouldn't take it as far as she did.
Yeah.
Just saying. she fell in love with a murderer that was being housed in Florida and basically planned an attempt to take Aaron's life. And now she's in jail. I think she's facing up to 20 years. But he looks like he's not okay.
Yeah, he doesn't look very well. I can't imagine being married to somebody and then hearing that happen. I feel like I wouldn't believe it. I feel like you'd be like, what are you talking about? Everything's fine. Especially if you see all the pictures online. You know, social media is such a facade anyway, but you know, they seemed very happy, very like happily ever after, you know? So to imagine that someone's brain is that dark, is just kind of mind blowing.
They had a Disney wedding, which is really expensive too.
Yeah, like they went all out. Those pictures were beautiful.
Yeah.
It was really beautiful. And she's really an ugly human. So not a good soul.
Really bad. Yeah, but for the Disney wedding, I mean, that's so expensive to get married there. Like, holy cow. I mean, it could have been as much as $100,000. So to have that dream wedding, to throw it all away, it's really, really sad, to be honest. So I feel bad for him. And apparently, rumor has it, they were actually filming Ghost Adventures when he was made aware that she was basically conspiracy. Like the police called him while they were filming, and apparently it was caught on camera. So I'm going to hope that there's a certain person who saves face who decides not to post that publicly, because I think that's only going to help the tower continue to diminish if it's publicly posted.
It's already, what's going on in the paranormal community right now is the epitome of the tower card in tarot. It's literally engulfed in flames, and maybe it just needs to be burnt to the ground for it to start anew.
We are watching the king fall, and everyone's trying to grab the crown. And it's exactly what I've always said. And I'm going to let Kat take the podcast over here in a second, because she did a really great job when we first filmed this. She sort of interviewed me with some tough questions that I think you guys are going to want to hear. But, you know, the crown has fallen, and you see particularly a lot of men from the industry diving to try to grab it. And it's going to be my opinion from a producer standpoint, spiritualist standpoint, being connected to source, that the next wave of investigators are going to be freelance artists online. It's probably never going to return to being on cable, because cable's falling anyway. Hollywood is in trouble right now. But also seeing the paranormal community go up in flames like this, it's going to create a hazard for production companies and networks. They're going to say they have a lot of problems in that community, and we don't want to be a part of it, because they really protect their face, you know, the face of their networks. So I think this could have just kind of screwed the pooch for the whole community, because it's more than just this one thing that's happening. It's kind of a lot of things happening, and it's unraveling. We're watching it unravel at the seams. So I'm really glad that I didn't get signed. I'm glad, you know, that version of me would not have seen what was coming. 5 years ago, whatever.
I think, you know, everything for the most part, things happen for us, not to us. You know what I mean? When you kind of take a step back and look at the mess that's evolving right now, you really do realize how grateful you are to have not been stuck in that mess, because that you could have easily been thrown into that whirlwind of, you know, the he said, she said stuff. And it's just, the paranormal community in and of itself is already struggling, and has always struggled, for credibility and validity within the world. So to have this happen, and to have essentially the face of paranormal, which, you know, Ghost Adventures been around this long, crumble like that, it's just, you have to start all over again.
The face is the patriarchy. It's always been, I've always called it, you can go back and watch videos from years ago, from literally when I first started doing YouTube. I've always called it a boys club. I've always called it a patriarchy. Of course, I have a lot more experience with it being an even deeper patriarchy than you see, because obviously it's so unbalanced with women, but also the production companies are men. The networks are men. It's just all men. And you have all these tough guys like, oh yeah, we're going to go hunt demons, because there's not just one doing it. There's more than one, you know? And unfortunately, they've taught everyone to disconnect from source while connecting to the other side. So the next wave will be women. I can guarantee it. And the next wave, there'll be divine feminines, And the next wave will be independent filmmakers, 100%. And I'm going to be a part of that wave. You better effing believe it. So anyway, Kat, I'm going to let you take over. And you did really great last time. So I want you to navigate this in whatever way you want to.
Yeah. So, okay, there's a few things. I'm trying to think of where to begin, because there's been a whole culmination of things that I feel like.
Well, last time you said there was an elephant in the room, and it's right behind me.
It was an elephant in the room. There is an elephant in the room. What are you? Firstly, how are you with all of this happening, and the work relationships that you've built with him, since Paranormal Challenge?
Well, I would go ahead and just call the elephant out for what we're talking about. We're talking about Zack and Holly, and there's been a lot of accusations online of Holly accusing him of cheating, and she's valid in her points. I know that people are going to expect me to come on here and back him up because I've done that in the past. And unfortunately, Zack and I had a kind of nasty falling out that I've been holding in for a long time. And Kat thinks it would be good for me to talk about that today, but I'm shocked and not shocked. I've lived in Vegas since 2014. I've always heard things. I've had people from the museum message me over the years, that had been bullied into signing NDAs or asking me if they should sign NDAs. Like, they couldn't afford to talk to an attorney, so they messaged me and asked me. And it was oftentimes him pushing people back into a corner, asking them to sign NDAs because they had witnessed him with a female in some capacity. I'll let you do with that what you will. Okay. And I never liked that because, an NDA is, don't use it for an abuse of power, right? Like, there's a purpose for NDAs, and then there is no purpose for NDAs. I mean, at the end of the day, it keeps both parties safe. Okay. They're meant for things like film contracts or, I think I said this last time, medical. Like, for example, I had someone living with me a few years ago and I made her sign an NDA. Thank God she did, because my husband had a severe mental breakdown. He's a veteran. He's a disabled veteran. He had a horrible PTSD episode. And she was there. So because she signed the NDA, don't talk about people's medical health. Like, that's a no. That's like strict off the table. You just don't do that. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So there are certain things, but it shouldn't be abused in a manner of sexual advances. P. Diddy, which I'm not saying that this was Zack. I'm just saying as a general statement. It shouldn't be meant to hide information. Like, you don't want people your girlfriend to find out that you are seeing more than one person. It shouldn't be used as an abuse of power, for sure. I did not like that. I didn't know really how serious Zack and Holly were. It was so on and off, obviously. And I was hoping that if he got in a serious relationship, he would have sort of knocked the antics off. But this is me going back to saying, like, the whole paranormal community is like this. He's not the only one. And I hate to say it, but he's not the worst. He's not the biggest villain in the community. And I know that's going to shock some people. But I've been in this industry since 2011, and the film side particularly. I've been to Paracons. I can't tell you one person who's innocent for not sleeping around on his wife. I've seen these paranormal celebrities take women home at Paracons. I've always told girls I've warned them to cover their drink when you're at a Paracon, because you don't want to get something slipped in your drink. I've seen guys try to drag girls to rooms. I've been almost drugged to a room by two very well-known celebrities in the industry. Two of my friends that were there with me that were men saw it happening and stopped it from happening twice. And I wasn't even under the influence. They were still trying to drag me to their room. So who's the biggest villain here? I'm telling you, it's the whole patriarchy needs to go. There's a lot of fingers being pointed at Zack right now from other celebrities. And I've seen them also not have halos, if you pick up what I'm putting down. So everyone needs to put their finger down, because they're just as guilty. And I would encourage all women who have ever experienced some sort of an abuse of power in this industry to come forward and call these men out and hold them accountable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's kind of eerie too. Like I feel like the biggest shocker for me was seeing the dating profiles
Ugh,
online
you
and
mean the
seeing all of that
screenshots of Zach?
posted. Yeah, I'm just you're a celebrity. You know what I mean? Like,
Hmm.
why are you posting this stuff publicly? And I'm just curious your thoughts on that, from a public figure standpoint.
Well, I have bigger friends than him because I've worked in the industry, and I'm not talking in paranormal. I have friends that are musicians that have millions of followers. I have friends that are actors that are, I have people in high places, and I actually had messaged some of them laughing because I said, "Wow, as a celebrity with 1 million followers, would you ever put a dating profile on Tinder?" And the first thing they all said was, "That is a stalking hazard." Like, it doesn't matter if you live in a guarded, gated community that's unsafe. You don't just meet random people. I can't even, and I don't even have 1 million followers. Like, I've talked publicly about the stalkers that I've gotten. So to put yourself on a normal ass dating profile and just meet a bunch of women, it's also a
Yeah.
safety concern, and it's kind of weird. So, I mean, it's going to sound kind of dark, but it kind of says at the end of the day that not only did he not respect Holly in the relationship, but he also didn't respect himself. He wasn't willing to keep himself safe. That's like self-love, which is kind of scary when you're willing to put yourself in dangerous situations.
Yeah. Well, and involving employees, and
Yeah.
ex-employees in this as well. I mean,
Yeah, there's screenshots.
there's stuff on Reddit.
Is that what you're
right?
talking about? Yeah. There's people are now posting videos of reviews from people that worked at the museum and Reddit feeds from people that worked at the museum, and they're screenshotting it and doing like green screen videos, and they're basically talking about warning people to not work at the museum because this is what I experienced. And I can't say my name. This is what they say on the feeds. I can't say my name because I don't want him to come after me because he forced me to sign an NDA, which is once again just abuse of power.
It is. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he apparently he would get, I mean, this is all alleged. I don't know what's fact or not because I wasn't there, and this is just what I'm seeing on it's very easy to Google. So just Google it. You know what I mean? Like museum employees, his name, whatever. I'm talking about it though from the videos that I've seen. Some of the employees said that he was meeting random girls in line at the museum, and if he thought they were attractive, he would bring them in and maybe engage with some, engage. That's all I'm going to say. I don't know. There's allegations of a manager apparently walking in on him with multiple people in a group setting, if I can say that. I guess alleged. I don't know. And the manager was apparently horrified and decided to quit. So I don't know what's true or not as far as that goes.
Right.
I mean, I was in the museum with him, a lot alone, I guess, but I never witnessed that per se.
Right. Did you have any experiences with him when you were with him at the museum?
Regarding like if I was alone in the museum with him?
Yeah, like was he acting strange, at all?
Well,
I'm curious about the paranormal aspect of things too. Like what he claimed, because I've heard too that he claims that people that he's possessed or something, or it's like he's constantly doing an experiment, but now he's messing up other people because of it.
yeah, the girls online have said stuff like he would text them late at night, go to the museums, he would sit them in a chair and then ask the spirits for their approval if he could like sleep with them or be with them or whatever. There's been multiple allegations on that. Did I ever experience that? No. Did he text me late at night? Yes. Did he text me to come down to the museum late at night? Yes. That seems to be a pretty common variable. So yes, I was in the museum with him alone, more so in the beginning when he was first opening it. A couple of things with that. And this is not me backing him up. He would have never tried anything with me like that. He would have never dared. I would have chopped him in the throat, first of all. Okay. Like, don't even come at me like that. Second of all, he knew that I was his equal. So I was kind of put on a little bit of a pedestal with him. And I know that's kind of strange to say, but he knew that I had producer experience. He knew that I had a lot of experience on set. He knew my history of where I had worked. He knew I was a filmmaker. He also knew I was a really big nerd when it comes to paranormal and history. And so,
science.
yeah. And so when we'd go, he did do, there was a, looking back, there was a few little weird things that he would do, like Robert Bordella, which is the Kansas City killer. He had obtained some really, gross things with him. And he'd kind of put me in this room alone with him and with no lights. And like, I think he tries to get a reaction out of people. And, but nothing like inappropriate happened. But I didn't know what he was sort of showing me. He was trying to see if I felt energy off of it, is what I think he was doing. He did the same thing to me with like the Annabelle chair. Like he had Annabelle there. That was before the falling with like Tony Spera. And he called me to come down to the museum, and I went down, and he'd asked me, like, he had this chair sitting in the middle of the room. So I have experienced that. This is true. And he's sitting in another chair. He's like, why don't you sit down? I could just tell something was wrong with the chair. I don't know what it was, but I could just tell something. And it also, like, just the way it was set up didn't feel right, because it was like a wooden chair in the middle of the room, and where his chair was positioned was like off to the side. And I was just like, why does he want me to sit in the middle of the room in this chair? You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, like
so weird.
Yeah. Well, and we were alone, and I was like, this is a little sketch. You know what I mean? Like, I was never really under that spell of what these girls, appear to sort of be under. And I always kept it professional. I always did. I always kept it professional. Yeah.
Yeah. You had such a strong intuition too, because I remember you calling me when he called you once to go down to the museum. Some of the guys from Ghost Adventures were there, and you knew that he would never do anything. But I remember you having hesitation to go. Like you knew something was off. You knew something was off with him.
Yeah.
I don't know if maybe that was the start of things happening, because he was still with Holly, I think, at that point, right? Or were they off again?
I don't really know when they officially got together. The last time I saw him was New Year's Eve, 2018 to 19. I do think they may have been seeing each other at that point a little bit. I don't know if it was exclusive, but yeah, he was very private when it came to like relationship status. And I respected it because I was also private about it, and like when I moved to Vegas, it was like on a whim. It was by accident. My ex-husband's family lived here. I was actually trying to get back to Los Angeles so that I could work full-time as a television producer. Just didn't work. So like, the universe guided me here instead, And then Zack and I have always had this relationship where we go in and out of each other's lives. And here he comes again, But when I moved here and I started getting millions of views online with the old channel, my name immediately got thrown into sentences with him. And secret dating, cheating with this, cheating with, and I could only laugh because I was married. I always laughed about it. I always giggled. I thought it was funny. I thought it was stupid. I also kind of just knew the type of guy he was. I knew that he didn't, he never really settled down. I was married. I am very monogamous. I am not a cheater. I have never cheated. You know what I mean? So it like the clash was already there, but that's also not something you talk about publicly. Like, especially when it's like a friend, like I shouldn't have to come on here and be like, oh yeah, hey, so Zack's not one to settle down. I am. It wouldn't work. We're not going to talk about it anymore. So anytime those things would come up, I would just think it was stupid and laugh it off. Now looking back, I think that me not addressing it may have ended up kicking my ass in the long run. I think that laughing made me look like I was interested or something. I don't know. I don't know what it did. I just assumed that because I was married and everyone knew that I was married, that I didn't have to have an explanation. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's it. I don't post my relationships online. I never have. I'm like Taylor Swift on that. Like, people are going to take information and run with it. Previously, my ex, like, people had found him online and they were starting to show up to his work and stuff. Like, we're not going to do that again. Unless I'm in like a very public relationship, that would change. But like, no. Yeah. So it was just weird. So anyway, I never experienced, was he weird? Yeah, he's weird. Like, I feel like everyone knows that. That's just how he is. Like, you know what I mean? Like, does he put you in an Annabelle chair for an experiment? Yeah, he does weird stuff. He's a weird dude. He's like Mr. Burns. He owns a haunted museum in Vegas. What do you expect? But, and you also hear bad things about, your friend, and you don't expect it to be true. You don't want it to be true. You don't want people, you don't want to think badly about someone that you care about. And I admired him as an
Sure.
executive producer. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to lie about that. When I started breaking down Ghost Adventures and went viral for it, for teaching paranormal film, that was the only reason for it, was to teach film. Because when I was working in the studios, the biggest concern was there wasn't enough knowledge for how to film paranormal in the community. So my assumption was, take the biggest show with the biggest name, Ghost Adventures, make a series out of it to teach people how to shoot paranormal film so that we are no longer lacking in the community. I wasn't going to gatekeep that knowledge.
Yeah, it's important to pave your own way. You know, paranormal needs something unique and different in all other aspects while respecting, you know, what it's all about. I'd only had one interaction with Zack in passing when we went to, remember when we went to the museum?
Yeah.
And it's an example of how high of a pedestal that he puts, you know, Crystal up on. But we had gone, you know, she had her ticket fee waived. And
well, Zack had a rule.
Yeah.
I had, you know, he is very dominating. He is very controlling. He is very, now I think he's manipulative, but in the beginning I didn't, you know what I mean? Like, I didn't realize what was happening at that point, but he had a very strict rule for me. And the rule was, anytime you come to the museum, no matter if it's alone or with someone, you have to call me or text me. And I respected the rule. And what ended up happening with that rule was he waived my fee every time. But I got to a point where I was embarrassed because anytime I would take a group of like 5 people or whatever, he wouldn't waive their fees and he'd waive mine. And it would make me feel like an asshole. So anyway, carry on.
Yeah, then that's just what happened. You know, we had gotten there and he had pretty much said to Crystal, you know, you're all set, but your friend has to pay. And it was just, you know, I just feel like with a guy that's kind of the cream of the crop of paranormal, I don't think one extra ticket would have really, you know, been make or break for him. But it also, I think it just shows that he kind of rules things with an iron fist in some ways and is just very particular, you know, about doing things. And, you know, he had already worked with you and already had those experiences. So, you know, yeah. So that was really the only experience that I had ever had with Zack.
Well, you also knew that, you know, at that time when we went, he was texting me because I think I let you see the text messages.
Yeah, you were showing me he was texting you. It was so creepy. Like, it was so creepy. It was crazy because I mean, there's one part in the museum with. I mean, I'm sure it's changed since what? When did we go? We went.
God, I don't even remember.
5 years ago.
Yeah, it's been a while.
6 years ago, maybe. And there was like a clown section, you know, and we had just walked up there, and you're showing me the text. And he was like, I'm watching.
Well, yeah, you know, I had said, he had said, keep your phone on or like your notification, or I can't remember. And I said, I said, I'm not allowed to have the phone on in the tour. Like they make you turn it off in silence. He's like, no, you're fine. So I always got like I always got extra little things that I could do. I always was sort of, I was definitely on a pedestal with him. He wouldn't mess with me. He was also deathly afraid of bad publicity. He was, but you're right. He would text me throughout the museum. He would watch the cameras in the museum and he would text me as I would go through the museum and say stuff like, how do you like this room? Or, oh, I see you walking through the clown room, or da 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 da. But you know, looking back, it's also a manipulation tactic because he was making sure the staff was on their best behavior so that I never gave him a bad review, which isn't really fair because if other people go and they have a bad experience, like it's okay. If the staff has a bad day, it's going to happen. Doesn't mean it's always bad. But it became where it was like an inauthentic experience because now he's called the staff, put the fear of God in them, that you better put your best performance on or else, because Crystal's there. She's a producer. She's watching you. And then, you know, honestly, I have all these people running up to me kind of kissing my butt. You know, and I don't really, even if I was let's say I had 20 million followers and I had millions and millions of dollars, I'm still going to be staying down to earth. I don't want to be treated the way he's treated. I don't want people kissing my butt. I'm still going to be a human and I still want to have a very human experience. So I never liked it when he helped put me on that pedestal because I just don't like people worshiping the ground that I walk in because I don't believe in the power of God, of you being, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're not, and then when the God falls, the damn tower falls. You know what I'm saying? So,
it's definitely fallen. It is engulfed in flames at this point. I had heard also that I guess that Zack had never met Holly's kids before. They were together like 8 years.
Yeah, she'd done a video. I think someone sent me. Someone had sent me a video that she said he never met her kids because she wanted to be engaged before she let him meet her kids. And that now he was trying to flip the blame around on saying the reason they broke up wasn't because he cheated, but was because she would not let him meet her children. But that's such a huge red flag to me. Like, I mean, that's good for her. She has those strict rules. Like, I'm not going to let you meet my kids till we're engaged. But that's still a lot. I can't imagine being with someone 6 or 8 years and you don't meet their children. She also had said something about she could only see him during specific time slots between 8 and 10 p.m. And then she ended up finding out that he was seeing other girls on the same day at like different time slots. And I was like, wow, I would never. I hope that through this process she heals and finds her worth, because I would never settle for a man who gave me a specific time slot. If he could only see me between 8 and 10 p.m., he'd be seeing someone else. That's all I have to say. I would never tolerate that. That is not enough for me. Sorry.
Yeah. Nope, that's fair. That's totally valid. And then we have, other people in the, community now tapping into this, Jason Hawes.
Even more than that. I mean, it's also that I'm on Vegas TikTok and there are women posting about him constantly, their experiences. It's really bad here. Like I asked you and Josh both, are you seeing this? And you're not seeing it at all. He's being posted in private, like, dating groups on Facebook, warning women about him. He has ruined himself. He set himself on fire. Yeah. It's all over my feed.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. It's unfortunate it's gotten to that point of him just being completely disrespectful.
Well, now he's apparently having his friends bully Holly. It's just sad. And I experienced that. And it sucks and it's sad. So.
Yeah. It's child play.
Yeah.
I mean, we're all adults here, Mm-hmm. So let's talk about another topic that I think we've discussed briefly in regards to the BOLO list.
Oh, God.
The BOLO.
I would go into more in depth about that if you're going to go for it, baby.
Yeah, all of a sudden, Crystal had discovered that she landed herself on a be on the lookout list.
And apparently my face was on the wall of the museum.
Yes.
Just like this.
Yeah. Like a mugshot. Everybody's like, oh yeah, Crystal, look, it's great.
Great.
Yeah, care to elaborate why he did that? Allegedly.
So I haven't talked about this publicly. So 2018, 2019 is the last time I saw him. And I saw him on New Year's Eve. He had texted me late at night, asked me to come down, asked me to bring ghost gear. So I packed all my paranormal stuff, went down. We went to another location that he had opened on the strip, or he'd bought. He tore it down. But anyway, Aaron was there. Jay was there. I can't remember who else. But yeah, we were hanging out. It was a fun night. We were ghost hunting in different rooms. I was mainly with Zack most of the time. And when I had first got there, he had said, I didn't know where to park. I parked kind of far because I just didn't know where I was going. And I was carrying all this like heavy shit and like my purse and stuff. And he was like, just put it in my truck. So like he let me unpack all my like ghost gear in the truck. And then we both grabbed random things, and like my purse was in there, but my phone was in my pocket. And then we basically like took off and like went ghost hunting or whatever. It was like, and it was a private ghost hunt. This wasn't filmed. This was just like friends hanging out for New Year's or whatever. And it had been like a few hours. I was kind of bouncing around, hanging out with everybody that was there. And I wanted something out of my purse. I can't remember what I wanted out of my purse, but I turned around, went to go out to where his truck was parked, because he's left it unlocked because it was like a security. He had security there and stuff, so it was safe. And his truck was gone. And I freaked out because my purse was in his truck. I freaked out. And then I had like my SLS camera was in there, which is like the one from Bill Chappell. And it's like a $1,500 camera. Like all my shit was in his truck. And I freaked out. Right. Thank God I had my phone. And so I'm texting him and like, there's just no response. And I'm like, who do I, like, there were like random people there, like security and stuff, but I was like, who do I talk, like, where did he go? You know what I mean?
I get my stuff.
Yeah, where did he take my purse with him? Like, I'm gonna be honest, like, I was like pissed. I was like really pissed. I mean, I think you would be too. I think I told you on the last stream, I think I was more concerned about my makeup than my wallet. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
So
I remember you texting me and you were like, he's gone. And I was like, I'm sorry, what did you just say? You were like, my purse.
I thought my purse, I did. Yeah. Well, it was in the front seat. It was in the passenger seat of the truck. And he had like a lifted black truck, but like, I mean, I was scared. I was very stressed. And so I was asking everybody that was there, and everyone's like, I don't know. Like, you know, maybe he'll be back. Maybe he ran to the gas station. No, he didn't tell anybody anything. And I found somebody in security who was like, oh, are you Crystal? And I was like, yeah. And they're like, we have your stuff. And I was like, what? He just like dumped my purse with like my ID and my credit cards off, like with these people that I don't know. Like, it was just the disrespect for me. It was just the disrespect, you know? And especially somebody he's known for like 10 years. Like, oh, it's a friend. Is it a friend? You know what I mean? So whatever we were. And so I got my stuff and then I left. And then I basically never heard from him after that. So I didn't know what happened. I didn't know if he was like, if I was being gaslit to feel like I did something wrong. I had no clue. And fast forward to 2020, which was the pandemic. I didn't go to the museum at all that year. And because I hadn't heard from him, I had texted him like 3 times. I never over texted him. I always was like, you know, happy birthday or whatever, you know, just to see if he'd respond. Nothing.
Right.
And then 2020 March rolls around. I went to the museum and I went with 3 of my producer friends. They're from LA. They called me. They were like, hey, we really want to go to the museum. We've never been. Can you take us? And I was like, oh God, because I hadn't heard from him. And I was like, shit, well, I'll go. You know what I mean? Like, I'll meet you guys down there. And by the way, 2 of these producers are like big in the industry. Like one worked with Reese Witherspoon repeatedly, and the other one works with The Rock. Okay. So I was like, I hope that it's good. Like, I don't know, you know, I'm like worried to take them, but like I was normally, you know, the rule from Zack was that I have to text him or call him when I go. Well, why would I when I haven't heard from him for a year? Right. So I was like, well, I'm going to go and just show up. And I was like praying to God, no one noticed me. So show up with my friends. They're really excited to be there because they like spooky stuff. 2 of the guys are very gay. So my 2 little gay guys were there. You know what I mean? And they're like, oh my God, this is like so great. You know, I just love my gay friends. They're like the best. You know? Like, oh my God, am I going to get scared? You know, like, is there spooky stuff in there? Yeah. And then we had another girl that was there. But anyway, so we're in the parking lot and it was a long wait to get in because it was the pandemic. They were only letting a few people in at a time. And the employees were just really terrible that day. They were just really rude. It was probably the pandemic. It was probably stress. But I was like really embarrassed that it was just a bad experience and for these important people. And then all of a sudden the door opens and his assistant comes running over and it's Bacon. And I was like, oh crap. He looked right at me and saw me. I mean, I know everybody obviously from knowing Zack. And his assistant came running over. He gave me a hug. He like picked me up, spun me around. And he's like, you know, does Zack know that you're here? How have you been? Where have you been? I haven't seen you in forever. And I was like, no, Zack doesn't know I'm here. His Lamborghini was parked in the parking lot. And I said, please don't tell him I'm here. Please don't tell him I'm here. I just didn't want the experience ruined for my friends. You know, I don't know what that means, but I just did. I'd already paid for my ticket. I just don't want to talk about it, you know? Right. So all this, so Bacon's like, okay, I won't tell him. He ran back inside and told Zack. I know. And Zack comes out and he's got a mask on and he's with like 4 or 5 security guards and he sees me. I have my back to him the whole time because I'm like, look, dude, I'm not these other girls that are going to run back. Oh my God. You know, like I was like, if he wants to apologize or talk to me, he'll have to be a man and do that. That's not my job. So in the meantime, my producer friends, of course it becomes a scene. Of course it becomes a scene. And of course I'm there with 2 gay guys who just cannot control it. You know what I mean? So they're like watching this unfold. And I'm like, I just want to die right now, you know? So I got my back to him. He's probably, you know, God, I would say 60 feet away, if that. And he keeps going to walk up to me, and then he turns around and walks away. And he probably did it like 10 or 15 times. Now, I'm not seeing this, but my friends who are watching are seeing Zach pacing essentially around me. And they're like, what's going on? Oh my God, he's coming up. No, he's not. He turned back around. I'm like, the commentary, if you could have been there, was so bad. I was like, stop it.
TV show.
They were
TV
like,
show in itself.
They were like, why don't you just turn around and talk to him? I'm like, nope, that's for a different day. You know, like he never came up to me. And I just knew that when I walked through the museum, he was going to be watching me on the cameras because that's what he always did. He's creepy like that, you know? So the museum experience was not good that day. And my friends were like, wow, the employees were really rude. It was really, it was just a bad experience. And so I ended up leaving, and I did a review. I did a podcast talking about, you know, the staff sucked, essentially. I mean, they were like screaming at my friends and stuff. Like, it was just a bad experience. It wasn't just little stuff. It was like bad. And I put the podcast up. I heard word of mouth that I hurt his feelings because I told you the one thing he hates more than anything is bad press. So I made the decision to take the podcast down. Anytime I've taken podcasts down, it's because I've hurt Mr. Bagan's feelings. Okay. And so after that, so I literally never found out why he stopped talking to me. I assume it was because he entered a relationship with Holly, but we were platonic. So I don't really know why he would have cut that off. It seems like he kind of cut off Dakota and other people at the same time from what I can see as a timeline. But then I started having employees message me. This was like maybe 2021-ish, saying that I was on a BOLO list, on a be on the lookout list, and that I had basically been banned from the museum and that my picture was hanging on the wall. And I was like, well, I didn't know why. I was never told why. I by the way, never reached back out to him after that. Like, that was the end. And then
I wouldn't either.
And then 2022 rolls around. My mom dies in the beginning of the year, January. And then all of a sudden, the rumors start spreading. He has told everyone and their mom that the reason I'm on a BOLO list is because I was stalking him.
This man will do anything to have an ego, you know, and just lie, just blatantly lie.
I would love to know when I was stalking him exactly, because first of all, the museum's very far from my house. You know that.
Yeah.
Second of all, the museum's in a horrible area, so I would never go there by myself to stalk anybody for that matter. Third, I was married. Four, I mean, do I really need to explain myself? My mom was sick for years, like, and I've talked about this. She was wheelchair bound. I was barely leaving the house to take care of her. My husband at the time had a mental break. I was taking care of him, you know, because you literally flew out to help me. I was so in my own world, like, I don't know when or where I would have time to stalk someone. And it definitely wouldn't be him. I would never date someone or be interested in someone that wears the same outfit every single day. Sorry, I said what I said, because I wouldn't date someone that doesn't fix themselves up. I'm not interested. So, you know, at some point I assume, you know, I hurt his ego probably. You know, projection is a defense mechanism, you know, like when people he was always watching me on socials. He probably is right now. Actually, I know he is. We'll talk about that later.
Right.
But, you know, he probably just needed to paint me as the villain, you know, like he's tracking my moves and invested in my life, but he has to accuse me of stalking to deflect, you know, his narrative. It's like, it's a fear of accountability. He was probably upset or embarrassed at how he handled, you know, the end of the relationship and didn't know how to fix it. So it's textbook manipulation tactic where, you know, you're avoiding accountability, especially when a woman starts to, you know, not fall for your Kool-Aid anymore. And so I have to deflect and say she was the problem and accuse her of the bad obsessive behavior instead of, you know, taking accountability. And the third is like, you know, beauty rejection complex. It's like the Madonna whore complex. which is a Sigmund Freud thing. And it's like, men always put women in two categories. Either you're the Madonna and they put you on a pedestal, but it can be even darker there, because if they believe you're unattainable, then they get mad, right? Or the whore complex. So like, a lot of the girls he was having these one night stands with, allegedly, clearly we know which category he put them into. But he was probably upset that I never threw myself at him like other girls. It was like I rejected him sort of in a emasculated him. And it made him feel less than. And that clearly he likes control and power and manipulation and ownership. And I was one he couldn't do that to, because I always kept it platonic, and he probably got mad. And it's like a socialist control of like narcissism, like you have to perceive the situation and make light of it in his own narrative so that the truth doesn't come out, And I remember like when he started telling people that I was stalking him, he sent minions after me. He sent people to message me, to bully me and harass me online for stalking him, which I wasn't doing. At the time, it was right after my mom had been killed. So I was just in such a dark place. That damn near set me over the edge with his bullshit. That bullshit damn near set me over the edge. And I thought to myself, pray to God I don't get up. You better pray to God I don't get up after this, because I'm going to tell everybody exactly what happened when the time is right, and the time is now. And, when a man talks shit. What is that? Wait, what is it? Wait, let me wrap it. I just need to wrap it. I have it right here. If a man talks shit, then I owe him nothing. I don't regret it one bit, because he had it coming. Sorry, I had to get that out.
True. It's very true.
But yeah, he knew I was unattainable. I was not the girls that he got me alone in the museum, and I never threw myself at him like other people probably did. And it probably pissed him off. So he realized there was a power shift happening, and he knows my power. He puts me on a pedestal, and he was scared of it. And that's fine. I would rather he was scared of me than use me as the Madonna whore complex. So stay in fear and keep continuing to watch me, bitch, because watch when I rise next.
Heck yes, we love the spicy.
I am no longer under the spell. You know what I mean? Like, and I feel bad for anybody. And let's talk about that too. I'm not going to point the finger at anybody here. Okay. It's like nobody's fault. He clearly has some serious mommy issues. That's why he's going around. I don't know if it's his actual mom or a stepmom or an aunt or a grandma, but he has some damage. Okay. This is my ascension stepping in. My higher self is here right now. Okay. He has mommy issues, and now he's projecting it onto other women. He's using women to mask his pain because he doesn't want to go heal. He's not taking accountability to go heal. The problem is he's finding weak women who are also in pain, who have daddy issues. So now you have two people who are looking for validation, who are unhealed. So I'm going to say this, ladies, make him work for it. If you date a man, do not jump in bed. Make him work for it. Know your worth. Understand your value. I know we've all had past trauma, but you're not going to make someone love you and be with you forever by jumping into bed immediately. It's going to make him do the opposite. If he knows you're easy and you're not hard and you're hard to get to, he's going to have to work for it, So I just hope that this is a lesson for everyone involved to just go unfuck themselves and heal. And that's partially why I've always been on a healing journey. Which is another reason that made me unattainable, because I have high expectations out of men, and he knew he couldn't meet those, even if I was interested, which I wasn't. Okay. I mean, I told you my ex-husband bought me a car before we even kissed, before we were even in a couple. He bought me a whole ass car for $10,000. I make men work for this. I just wish everyone would heal, and so then they don't end up getting their heart hurt. You know what I mean? The truth always burns through the fog. His words were never rooted in reality anyway. It was rooted in fear, the way he backed me into a corner. But, he got me down, and I got back up. And I hope he enjoys that. Yeah.
Wow. Mic drop.
And I'm done. Truly. Yeah, I'm not. I'm a woman in this field, and I've seen women be abused over and over again in every capacity, every shape or form. I can't tell you how many times I've walked in to do. I have literally negotiated with every single effing network out there. Literally, okay, more than once sometimes. Okay, and I cannot tell you the times I've had executives, EPs, big wigs, corporate come up to me and say, "You're hot If you want your serious side, I'll give it the way you want to if you sleep with me. I am so sick and effing tired of this industry of women being abused. And if I'm one of the women in this industry, I am not going to sit here and remain silent and watch all this shit unfold. Because I'm telling you, it's not just him. It's the entire industry. It's film. It's paranormal. It's all the men in paranormal. It's all of them are toxic masculinity. All of them are unhealed. All of them try to project their bullshit crap onto women and use and manipulate. Oh, now that I slept with you, you have to sign an NDA. Get the F out of here. I am sick of it. I'm going to be a voice and I'm going to stand up for the next generation so that they don't have to suffer what we've witnessed unfold.
Yeah, amen.
Not watching
I think it's hard when it's not outspoken, because I feel like some women might not be aware, you know what I mean? That's not normal.
Mm-hmm.
If they don't have people saying, no, that's weird. We don't do that. You don't sleep with someone to get ahead, or, they don't have you sign an NDA before you have relations with them, and
that's P. Diddy shit. That's P. Diddy shit. That's illegal and that's P. Diddy shit.
Yeah. And it's important to cast a light on that, because there are some women that just don't know, genuinely.
I agree.
And then they get themselves into this hole.
Well, that and I like you, and like, and I think a lot of people are. That's another thing. I know for a fact that people are impressed by money and status and power and fame. And I'm sorry, but Zack is not high on the totem pole. I have messed with EPs that have billions of dollars. I mean, I've been at tables where I've watched them throw down $4 million like it's water, like it's nothing. It doesn't even affect them. It's expendable money. Zack is not high up on the list. So I've never been intimidated by him because I've already been in this industry. I've already seen what happens behind the scenes. But then you have other girls who have never experienced wealth, status, power, money. And in his younger days, he definitely looked better than he does now, But they're impressed by it immediately. I was never impressed by it. I've never been impressed by wealth, status, or power ever, because I've seen it in men. Rich white men for years. Don't be impressed. Don't be so easily impressed. Make him work for it.
The basic needs are still there. Mm-hmm. Still need to be there. Money.
And keep your wanker in your pants. God damn. Shit.
Oh my gosh.
Jesus. Right. God damn.
And you know what? That's the
At what point did you think that wasn't going to get out, for God's sake, with that many people involved? Jesus, take the wheel.
I know. Yeah,
you get some wanker, and you get some wanker, and everybody gets some wanker.
Everybody gets wanker, but also sign your name on the piece of paper.
I thought you meant sign your name on the wanker. I
almost said that, and I was like, no, that's sense, Cat. We just need to let the intrusive thoughts.
Oh my God, it's the intrusive thoughts. Don't sign it. It's bad.
Intrusive thoughts. It's fine. Everything's great.
Well, I guess we can end that by saying there's a new feature that Instagram brought in March. I don't know if you knew that. Do you know about that feature?
Mm-hmm. So, I think we talked about it briefly.
If you go into settings on your IG, right? I'm going to show it. You go into blocked, which, by the way, I have like 300 people blocked, if anyone's wondering. If you want to talk shit, I'll just block you. I don't need it. Anyway, if you scroll down, it says people you may want to block, right? So you're going to click on that. Okay, hang on. I'm sorry, my list is long. Just give me a second here. Okay. Now you go to people you may want to block. So if you go to my list, I just want you to sort of take a peek here. I hope that you can see this. Can we see that pretty clear?
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
So if you can't see it, let me read it to you. Real Zach Bagans is number 1 that's stalking me. Travel Channel is a follow-up 2. Project Fear Official, isn't that Dakota? That's a 3.
Yeah.
Dave Schrader's right up there too. He's just lovely. You got Ghost Adventures and the Haunted Museum. So every single page that Zach owns stalks me on Instagram. So let me know if I was still the one stalking him. Just let me know. I feel like this is, I always bring receipts. Now I can actually block everybody because we're just, this part of my life is over. Yeah, we're just
going to do that right now.
So yeah, hang on a second. Even Dave, let's just get rid of him. He's a Tyrannosaurus Rex. Oh, and there's the Haunted Museum. So, I mean, he'll have to make a burner account, which I'm sure he has several, but that's fine. Yeah, we're just. I'm done. I'm done with this. I'm not gonna be silenced by a powerful man. If you think in any capacity I'm going to be silenced by a powerful man, you have something else coming. Okay. And that goes for any other woman out there. I have come too far. I've worked too goddamn hard to get where I'm at in this industry. I have destroyed myself 1,000 times and risen myself from the dead. And I'm not going to let anyone silence me or destroy me. So let's just make that very clear. And Jesus, I'm going to pray for your healing. Holy shit.
Amen.
So mote it be.
Lord knows he's gonna need it. So mote it be. Exactly. Very fitting with the hoodies here.
So mote it be. What was that? God, I think I got these for us when you first came on, which was 400 years ago.
2017. So I first came on.
It was a while. It just took a while. I'm looking at our notes to make sure to see where we're at. So it's so funny. I said the king fell, the false prophet has gone down, and everyone's trying to grab the crown. And I do think it's going to be women in the next phase, but it's a boys' club. There's worse villains than this one that we're talking about. Honest to God, you just don't know it. They just hide it well.
Yeah.
What else are we doing?
I ask that question every day myself. Every day.
Oh, there's more drama though. There's like the fight going on between Tess, Amy, Nick, and Dakota. Did you see that?
Oh yeah. There's a lot, of misconstrued information.
And Jason's in on it. Oh my God.
Jason Haas. He's so old. He's so freaking washed up. I swore. He's so washed up.
Jason's really obsessed with the Conjuring house, huh?
That's going to be a different podcast episode because it's just really laughable to me that.
But why are you just consumed by that? It doesn't matter. You know what I mean? Like,
well, that house does things to people. I don't know. I saw its previous owners and now the new ones. It's like weird obsessions happen within that home. It's strange.
So you think Jason's affected by it then?
I think he's 100% affected by it.
Interesting. Okay. I like this. All right.
Yeah.
That's why he can't let it go and he can't drop it.
Yeah. We need to I'd love to have a podcast episode about that because I'm really grateful that I had the opportunity to go to the Conjuring house before it closed. I don't know when it's going to reopen.
Yeah.
But I have a lot of opinions on the energy of that home and the story of it as well. But Jason is just like he needs to let it go.
I'm sick of hearing about it, to be honest. Like we know the lady had some mental health issues. Like just why are we still running it in the ground and run it? Can't you go film something new or something? Yeah, can't you like work on yourself?
He's turning into like Tony Spera.
Do you have a hobby?
Facebook Live or YouTube Live.
Yeah.
What?
Do you have a hobby? Go build something? A hobby.
Oh, yeah.
Can't you do something if you're like, rather than the same thing? We know what you think about it. You know what I mean? Like, gonna keep running into the ground. I'm bored. I'm over it.
It is boring at this point. Yeah.
And then Tess and Amy got in a fight. So Tess is Nick Groff's wife, and Amy Bruni. Amy's basically saying, so of course when Zack goes down, he's burning himself alive right now. No one needs to really help him, but I'm just saying. Amy said you can't get blacklisted. Like basically Nick and Dakota have formed an alliance and they're saying they got blacklisted because of Zack. And Amy stepped in and said, no, you didn't get blacklisted because of Zack. You got blacklisted for other reasons. I'm just going to say Amy's right. And I'm not backing up Zack. Right. Yeah, she's right. Yeah. I mean.
Yeah, she's right. And, the problem is that this is also a washed up tweet from April that was getting dragged back into the mix now that Zack's name is being put out there. So it's a mixture of people having opinions on Zack's current situation on top of an old tweet where Amy was talking about production and how that's just like not how that works. You know what I mean? Like don't lie, And it wasn't to defend him in any type of way, but it was just stating facts of like, this is what the industry is. Mm-hmm. You sometimes make it and you sometimes don't,
Well, Nick got in trouble when he signed his 3 series while still in contract with Travel Channel. You cannot do that. You can't go to another network while you're in a network contract. So that's why he got blacklisted. And then, where's the accountability, man? You know what I mean? Like, just take some accountability. It's like, when people point the finger and take no accountability for their own actions is when you're the most unhealed. And that's why I've stayed away from everyone in the community, you know? And Dakota, you know, he got blacklisted because he had a serious NDA. This is not like the ones we talked about earlier. When you sign an NDA with a production company and or network, which he probably had both, you cannot go and expose what happened behind the scenes. And he broke the NDA when he blathered on social media, and then he probably got blacklisted from it. So where's the accountability, man? Take accountability for your actions.
Yeah. They're all just blaming each other.
Yeah. Oh, everyone's pointing the finger at everybody. They're trying to take. This is what I've said for years. The paranormal industry is a dog-eat-dog industry. This is why I've never become close or friends with anyone in the industry, because the second someone falls, they will turn on you. And that is not the way it's supposed to be. There is enough room for everybody. You know, everyone's like, how did Zack get to the top? Da-da-da. Go do the work, baby. We're all capable of it. Go do the work. What he had over everyone's shows was cinematography. He went to film school. He understands the film side. I have been screaming this for years. It's really not that hard. If you like paranormal, go learn how to do film. It's not that effing hard. But everyone's pointing the finger, and I'm like, look, and I'm not taking up for Zack, but it's not all him. Mm-hmm. He had really good cinematography style, and it worked for the time being for what it was created for.
Right. He knew how to work in the industry, despite his lack of decorum as a human being.
Yeah.
Doing behind closed doors.
I'm not talking about his sex life. I'm not talking about, you know, even him saying demons come up out of there. I'm not saying that. I'm saying his quality of film and understand his knowledge of the industry is what got him where he is. And that's why I have been teaching film for years, to help everyone else to not gatekeep it. And instead of learning, everyone's still pointing the finger at each other. And I'm just sitting here like, and this is why I don't trust y'all. And this is why I want nothing to do with y'all. This is why. Yeah. And that's scary to think as you're coming in as a filmmaker and a paranormal investigator, to think you're coming into an industry where they will turn on you in the drop of a hat. And we're watching it happen right now.
Yep.
No one can be trusted, you know? And then now Ryan Buell's out with Annabelle, and they're burning shit down in New Orleans.
Yeah.
Figuratively, not literally.
Literally. Well, yeah. And then, you know, inmates are running loose, and, you know, it's and how Ryan Buell, of all people, got a hold of that doll. Shouldn't be shocked if he's friends with Tony Spera. We all, if you've watched the podcast before, you all know our opinions on Mr. Spera.
More than that, it's the Warrens in general. I don't like,
Warrens in general, but Tony in and of itself has been really bad lately. You know, and just
it's a publicity stunt. This is a publicity stunt.
Yeah. He's wanting to make a quick buck, you know, with an item that genuinely affected families, you know, and like affected people's lives. So, you know, and I guess he gave it to the right person then, Ryan Buell.
That's what I find so odd. Like, so Ryan was in trouble years ago. He was on Paranormal State, which is a shame because I really did like him. I was a fan. You know, he did excellent job at his voiceovers. Like, that's not just a hired skill. Like, you have to actually know what you're doing. And, I have so much tea on that, though, and I can't expose it. I know so much tea on that, too. Gotta keep my mouth shut. But anyway, he ended up getting, becoming a drug addict, which he admitted. He went into treatment. But while he was on drugs, he scammed fans out of hundreds of thousands of dollars. I mean, I don't even know what the total was. He was faking cancer. His mom was lying for him, trying to get donations to help him with his addiction. So he was getting, fans to donate for cancer that he didn't have, which to me is like really unforgivable and dark if you've known anyone with cancer. And I have, you know, and it's like a serious thing to fuck around and find out with. And then he was setting up fake conferences, paranormal conferences, and he would have his fans pay $500, however much a person, to go to these conferences. He canceled at the last minute and not refund anybody. And he acknowledges his addiction. He acknowledges that he had to get fixed. And I understand that addiction's, a mental illness, and it's hard to get through, and it's a disease. I understand that. And I'm glad that he's sober. But like, once again, I'm going to go back to the same thing I'm repeating. Where is the goddamn accountability? All of these men, the men pointing the finger at Zack, saying Zack's a cheater and they're the ones out cheating. Where is the goddamn accountability going on here? The whole industry is a mess. The patriarchy needs to fall. The boys club is gone. It's on fire. I don't know if the professional film side of this will ever recover, if I'm being honest. I think that
It needs to burn.
I think that EPs and networks are going to watch this all happen, and they're going to never sign another paranormal series again. I think they're going to say this industry is too problematic. It's too much of a risk and a liability to pay to EP another show. So, I mean, thank God I had already made the decision to go independently. But, you know, at the end of the day, too, I know I'm not saying Nick's a saint. I'm not saying he's a saint. But he also needs to be happy he cut ties from Zack before this happened, before the tower went down. And same with Dakota. Go thank your spirit guides. They saved your ass before this happened. Because I'm thanking my spirit guides because I had talked to Zack about getting signed. It was a definite wish fulfillment that I wanted to have him sign the EP because I think him and I together would have created some serious good shit. But oh my God, if my name would have been tied to him, I would have been so FUCKED. Oh, I would have burned with him. Thank you, Jesus. If you're listening, Jesus, take the wheel. Mother Mary, everybody up there. Satan, black magic.
I'm just saying.
Satan, thank you.
Thank you. No, it's true. Yeah, you lucked out, girly.
Everybody did.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And after this, I will never speak that man's name again. And it's crazy because I was the first one to always go to bat for him. But I'm telling you, he masked with me so hard. Zack, he masked with me so hard, I never saw these dark sides of him. And when people would say to me, no, this is how he was, I just didn't believe it until I experienced it myself. And, you know, he tried to destroy me. And you're not gonna, buddy. You're not gonna. And I, you know, it's so crazy too, because women are always the bitch, right? I'm going to be the bitch with people like, oh, she's a liar. She's a woman. No one believes when a woman calls someone out. But the second a man calls somebody out, like, oh, yeah, tough. Yeah, he's right. He did it. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry, but I'm not going to sit here and be complacent. If I'm in this industry and I've chosen to be in this industry and I've worked as hard as I have the knowledge under my belt that I have. There is no way in hell I'm going to go down without speaking my truth and saying my opinion on this. This is crazy. And I'm not going to let somebody take me out. And I don't give a shit if he is the king of the crop and he's the one, you know, controlling this industry. If you want to take me out, then I'm going to say my piece and say what I think will happen. And you're still stalking me clearly. So enjoy the show, bitch.
Yeah. Yep.
Keep watching. What did Taylor Swift say once again? Because she's the fucking queen of quotes. All of my friends or all my enemies started out friends. Join the club, bud. Join the club.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And I'm sorry that an old version of myself was manipulated by you and too nice to understand and see through the rose-colored glasses. But yeah, I'm done with this conversation. Don't stop sending me stuff on Instagram. The only reason we did this podcast was because so many people were asking me to do one on it. So it's done. I will never do another review about him. I will never talk about him. I will never support another film project he does. I will never support him in any capacity. And it's a shame for him because I was his biggest supporter. Mm-hmm. The man talks shit, then I owe him nothing. Don't regret it one bit because he had it coming. Say I did something bad. Why does it feel so good?
Oh, I can't. That was great. This is our phone conversation.
Yeah, this is what you missed for 2 years or 3 years, 400 years, whatever it's been.
Changed 80 years.
We're gonna end the podcast with gratitude. We're gonna tell my guides, my spirit team, for thank you for always having my back, for not letting me get signed by anyone that was dysfunctional, toxic in the industry. And thank you, guides, for allowing me to turn down endless contracts that never worked out. Thank you, God, for me always trusting my damn instincts. And cannot wait to get the hell out of Vegas, bro. Oh my God. Yeah. Let it burn. Shit, not really. I mean, I won't be back though. After I move, I'm not going to be back for the rest of my life. If you ever message me and say, "Oh, Crystal, we found this haunted place in Vegas," I'm like, "Go ahead. Go ahead. Enjoy it. Go for it." No, I'm not going with you.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, thank you guys for tuning in. Kat, do you want to say anything as your little goodbye?
I am so happy to be back. It feels good and missed all of you. And thank you, Crystal, as always. It's always a blast.
Thank you as well this is like our normal conversations, though, honestly.
It is.
I know so many people like, how, what do you and Kat like behind the scenes like this?
This is it.
This is
and
yeah.
like and eating snacks.
Oh yeah. Today we were on the phone. We were both eating because we were stressed about the podcast. Like I was like, I took a too big bite of ice cream. Hang on a second. I can't talk. Thank you guys. We love you so much. Make sure that you subscribe. This podcast will be uploaded on all streaming platforms. It'll be on YouTube. This is the end of a big chapter. Okay. No more. No more. We're watching the tower burn. Enjoy the show. I love you. Bye.